Hey guys, it don't usually go black like that. I don't know what's going on, y'all. I am having technical
Well, but you
difficulties.
can see us. Hello.
Let me go and see if I can see myself on the phone book. On the y'all know on the live. I don't know. Oh
It's Monday,
Lord.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Monday. Welcome to Mondays. All right,
Y'all not
Monday.
here. So I'm working. Hey.
Can y'all see us? Because we don't need to see ourselves if y'all can see us, but I just need to
I
know
don't
that
see
the
us.
camera working. Oh yeah, it's live. Can y'all see us? Because we don't need to see ourselves if y'all can see us, but I just need to know that the camera
Hey,
working.
Shay, what's up? How you doing?
Oh yeah, it's live. Hey y'all. Hey Danielle. Hey Shay. Hey, love you guys. How you doing, Shay? Tell Alfredo, tell hello. Hey Bert. Hey brother. We can't see ourselves, y'all. But anyway, so look, y'all see I got two of my beautiful daughters with me tonight, Summer and Larice. Larice is my daughter in love, but we're gonna have a chat from the perspective of wives, mothers, sisters, daughters. You got a bunch of nationalities sitting here. You know, we got black, white, and Hispanic over there. We got Filipino and black here, and then I'm white and Hispanic, and whatever else in the pot with me. I don't know all that, but yeah. And y'all see my cup? This was made for me by a friend of mine, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. I love it. I'm still using it all the time. Larice got her drink. What you drinking? Oh. She a Mrs. too. Y'all know she's Jonathan's wife, for those that don't know. And the cutie patooties mama, Jonah.
We doing?
Anyway, yes, Shay, we can't wait till y'all come. It ain't that far away. We haven't celebrated a birthday with you in a long time, honey. Yeah, yeah, that's your Uncle Charles. Chuck, Chuck. Ooh, that's my buddy. Hey, Lay. Why the other day I was telling them about how we used to come back from Virginia Beach at the club, child. How we used to hit that curve to get on the 64 to go back to Norfolk. They thought I was lying, but I told them, child, we was road racers. You feel like you're on a roller coaster ride. But y'all, I want to just I brought them on because we have yeah, you finally could drink. You was of age, honey. But we you know, in our family in our home we talk about a lot of stuff, and one of the things we've really been talking about quite a bit is, you know, what everybody's talking about, what's going on right now in America, across the United States. It's not happening in just one place or anything like that. It's really happening across the United States, and I wanted just to briefly, not too briefly, but to talk about that because I think that part of the solution is understanding other views as far as within the minority community. Because the truth is, there are a lot of us that see things differently, or that we may feel different, or that we've had different experiences. I mean, there are minorities that have never experienced any type of racism, and they've never been judged. They've never been, they've never been affected due to the way someone sees them because of their appearance, because of the color of their skin. So, I just wanted to talk to them. You guys, most of you know, Summer attends a HBCU. Hey, Tiffany. It's Tiffany from my house.
Oh, what's up? I said it too.
Hey, Tyra, love you. So I think, Summer attends an HBCU. She goes to FAM. And I just think it's important, Larice is a young black mother with a young black son and a young black husband, right? And her dad is black. So,
Error on the screen.
child, somebody sent me a box. I'll look at that later. But, yeah, so I just want to let them talk and then we'll go from there. All right, whoever first. I don't know what y'all got to say. Anything?
You threw it out there, okay.
Yeah, pick it up, pick the ball up and run with it, girl.
Run with it. So, first off,
Hey, Shakara.
oh man.
Kiss all my babies for me. Tell them hello. Go ahead.
First off, I think what's going on,
Talk to my people.
sorry. I think what's going on and how our states and local police forces and government are responding is very irresponsible in some places. I mean, it's like they think that we just gonna calm down eventually, and that's not what's gonna happen because this has been boiling. It's been an undercurrent that's been happening in the community because you got to think these things. People don't just all of a sudden get pissed off. These happen over time to people, multiple people where it spreads in the community. So this has happened to multiple people, and now they just seen somebody die live, and the person that killed them was not immediately arrested and was able to go home. Go home. And I think he's really, the other officers, they're just chilling at home. So with that, that shook more, not only people that have experienced this type of racism, but people who haven't seen that are like, oh shit, that could have been me.
Right, it's real. They're not, because before this one, it was kind of like everybody had a split decision, with all of this stuff, like with Trayvon and with all of these different things that have occurred.
And excuses that they could make.
Right, and they could justify themselves. But I think you're right. This incident with Mr. Floyd, with George Floyd, has really made America as a whole say, what the? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense to see anything like that. And there is no one with any training, military, medically training, that has been trained or taught in any type of restraint. Anybody like that knows that what they did was not necessary. It was unnecessary force.
So with that, I mean, the government, the states, and the local police officers, how they're responding to it is insane. To see that, I don't understand why they're being so aggressive. Why there are so many agitators they're letting this take place. Because I'm 100% sure the police officers that are there standing and see the protesters can identify each of those agitators. So why are they throwing tear gas out there? Why aren't they going directly after those agitators and stopping them right then and there?
Right. Well, I don't know, honey. It's crazy to
Let
me.
me tell you this.
Okay.
If a week ago, when they went to the state capitol about their rights because they want to go to the salon, they want to go get their nails done, their hair done, they want to go out and eat inside a restaurant, do all this nice stuff. Had one of them pulled a gun, I'm 100% sure that the officers would have been able to detain any of them peacefully and nobody would have been killed.
Well, the truth is, we've seen it several times where people of a certain race, let's just be real, Caucasians, I mean, we've seen them where they're wielding guns. or knives at the police, and the police are constantly telling them, put that down, put that down, put that, tell them for 4 or 5 hours, seems like, before anything occurs.
Exactly.
So,
But a black man not respond fast enough, he getting shot up, getting tased for no reason. If he doesn't respond fast enough. Shoot, even if they respond. Women too, black women too.
Yeah, you saw that little girl, that little black girl that white police officer beat the snot out by that fence. I don't know if y'all will see it, so let's see. What you say? I'm trying to read the comments. Oh. I agree, people keep posting and see people protesting when blacks kill whites.
Yep, they immediately get arrested.
Exactly. But you know what, honey? The truth is the issue with it being against racism, and that's the truth. That is what we all are talking about and what the problem is. But the truth is, the first step in recovery is acknowledging the problem. And I think that some have woke up. I mean, I've seen posts from Caucasians and other people who have said, I didn't get it. But after this, I see now what you've been talking about, or what has been going on. Because there has never been, hey, Erica, there has never been this blatant of a video of police brutality. Well, no, I've seen some that made me say it was police brutality. But what I'm saying is one that makes America as a whole, hey, Valerie, stand up and say, this is wrong. Because there are people who are saying this is wrong who have never seen it as wrong before. I think that's a lot of why this fire, this engine is going, because there are so many people. Like at these protests and stuff, it's all kinds of people. It looks like America protesting.
But you know what that means? That it took this kind of video for people to realize that?
Right.
How I say this, how ingrained it is in so many individuals' minds that what has happened in previous incidences, they were able to find excuses for. How it took this kind of video for them to realize that, oh, this is real. That's how ingrained in society it is that racism isn't that big of a deal. Unless you've already experienced it and you really know. So that in itself is a problem.
Have you ever experienced racism? I know you wrote a post on Facebook. For those of you that haven't seen my baby's post, go on Facebook and look at it. I shared it on our page. Hey, Travis.
Oh yeah, I've experienced racism my whole life. How old was I when I started like 4 when that little boy called me a nigger?
Right.
And
that was here in Start.
Yep.
You and Jonathan, yeah.
So, and then the last time, let's see, would have been in high school when I went on my senior trip, and I had a classmate. Now I'm not gonna say sometimes I guess I can be annoying. I can. I asked a question. He said, "This is why we need whips for you niggers." And you know what? It wasn't just him. It was other classmates around me who heard him say that. And you know what I realized in that moment? None of them said a fucking thing. They looked. There were tourists in the park who looked. No one said one thing. But you know what I didn't see? Any people that looked like me. So why was I surprised?
But I think that you being surprised and obviously bothered by the fact that no one spoke up for you is fair. Honestly, I don't think it's fair that you have to feel, why am I surprised? You should have felt like somebody would have protected you.
Right. But I wasn't surprised. I already knew in the back of my mind that they're not to be trusted like that. And it's funny because those same people, they're sharing, they share posts every now and then, and they're on it now, real big. I'm like, wow, you're not racist anymore?
You feel different? What changed?
Nothing changed. They just don't want to get caught. That's what it is.
Right.
That's another problem. There are white people that know what's going on and they don't want to see change because they like it. They enjoy seeing this division.
Oh, Lord. Well, you know, but I don't know. It, you know, you as a child growing up with me, you know the racism we've experienced. You know, we were almost ran off a road one night, y'all, on Racetrack Road. Me and Summer and Jonathan when they were younger, and those white men jumped out their big redneck truck and were beating after they tried to run me off the road, and I pulled off the road. They were beating on the windows and calling us all kind of obscenities. And I was on the phone with GPD 911 trying to get somebody there. So, you know, it happens and it's valid. But that last incident you had, the first one Summer mentioned was here in Stark as a little girl. The next time that what she's talking about, not the next time you experienced it, but the next time it occurred, it was in Jacksonville, North Carolina. That's where she went to high school at her senior trip. So I say that to say that it is an American issue. It is a United States issue. It is not a one area issue. Racism is systemic. I don't know what y'all know, but honestly, an allergic reaction to something, right? If you eat something, it affects your entire body. You will get hives on your feet, in your scalp, on your hands, all over. But if it's just a contact reaction that just touches your skin, it is only going to appear in that area. But the issue and the reason why this racism and why it is systemic and how you know that is because it's everywhere. I lived in Chicago. It was there. When I was stationed in Pensacola, there were signs that said not responsible for after dark. You know, in Mississippi, when I went there, there were signs saying that, you know, we couldn't go down certain road. I mean, I'm just saying. It's national. It's America. It's all over the United States. Why? What you got, Larice?
Well, from being Black and Filipino, vaguely I remember in fourth grade, this little Caucasian white boy, he would always call me a nigger, and he would also take my lunch money and all of this type of stuff. But anyways, as I grown older and went through the other grades, people have thrown stuff at me. I've also had a white friend, and her parents are rednecks, and they were okay with me, but they weren't okay with her hanging around Black guys.
So they ain't want her to bring no Black boy home.
That's such a damn shame because when it comes down to it,
When it comes down to it, I raised some phenomenal Black men that love their little children. Although I prefer mine to be with, you know, I ain't saying nothing. No, I'm joking. I love my kids and I want them to be with who make them happy. But I love Larice, you know, and Larice is amazing. And the stuff that people do You know what I'm saying? Like in the medical field, I have worked with nurses who are blatantly racist. You know what I'm saying? There's no question that they are a bigot. Look, let me tell y'all something. For all y'all out there who wonder, if somebody a bigot, you ain't got to wonder. They is, and you will know it simply by the way they look and talk.
Some people they refuse to accept the reality, and that's the problem. Some people really cannot accept reality.
But what reality?
The reality that racism is real.
But why? What else do they need? What else do they need to see to understand that racism is a systemic issue in America?
All I gotta say is this: people still think the earth is flat. They believe that faithfully. So
what you saying is some of them just dumb.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm with that. Y'all know I'm in full agreement.
Like I said before, there's some who know what's going on. They know it's wrong, but they enjoy what comes with it. There's some who subconsciously accept the benefits they get from it and refuse to admit it. Because to make that change means everybody's equal. Everybody's going to get the same sentencing. Everybody's going to get arrested the same way. You won't be able to just get pissed at a black person and say, I'm going to call the cops and expect the cops to show up and do some shady shit. You won't be able to say, oh, well, so-and-so I know is in this position, so I'm going to call them and they're going to have you get in trouble.
Right.
It's all about power for some. I feel like that's what it is for most police officers that are doing these things. They enjoy it. I'm sure if we could look back on their history growing up, they were some.
Do you think that these police officers that are behaving this way, do you think they're racist? Do you think they're bullies? Or do you think they were bullied and now because they have all of this psychology. Every time a white person do a crime, it's a psychology reason. They go in there and shoot up the church and they is mentally not capable.
I mean, that man that slit that boy's throat in Arizona, a year later, at the end of the case, he's being found incompetent. He doesn't know what's going on with proceedings. But he didn't know enough to come up behind that teenager, slit his throat, and say, I didn't like the music he was listening to. It was threatening.
And where did that happen out in
Arizona? Year later. And the thing is, you can't find, I found one report that's keeping track of what's going on. You can't find much information.
And that's a lot of it. That is a lot of, that's just like with the Ahmaud Arbery in Brunswick. Most people didn't know anything that was going on with that until that video dropped. But the truth is that happened on February 23rd. And I think that's a lot of it too. Just like us as a community don't know our Black history that well. Most people didn't know yesterday was the anniversary of the massacre in Tulsa. And when they burnt down Black Wall Street, 35 city blocks, the white people set on fire over there. 35 city blocks, simply because they were thriving. And simply they were thriving, and that made them mad. So when that accusation of attempted rape from the Black guy on the white girl in the elevator came out, it just gave them a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the same thing has continued to happen over and over in history. History repeats itself, and there's nothing new under the sun. But, hey, Diane. Hey, Whoa. Hey, Toya. Hey, Florence. Hey, Lulu. But the thing is that as these things are, we have to make it our business to know and to understand our history, as well as we know or understand the lyrics to our favorite song. Do you know what I'm saying? Because the truth is, knowledge is power. Honestly, I don't care what color you are. If you have knowledge, there are things you can do and things you can accomplish. Because don't nobody want to talk to somebody like me that's gonna go up in there and want to tell her up everything, right? Because I go from 0 to 500. Everybody know that.
But they don't want to hear that peaceful either.
Right, but they can talk to you or to Larice, who know how to articulate but not get emotional. See, I don't know how to do that, y'all. I am emotional. I don't got no ovaries no more. But before, when I had them, I still was emotional. So that might not be the reason. But it's some stuff, I think about when I was in school. And y'all know, you ever seen pictures of me as a little girl. And most of you on here that went to school with me, you know I had an afro. My mother didn't know how to take care of my ethnic hair. And it just was, much love to you and my brother and that cutie pie with them eyes too, Diane. But they did, but they picked on me. That was the way I was picked on. That was a name that they called me and teased me about from middle school all the way through high school. My senior year in high school, people were still calling me Afro. Fro. I was the only girl in school with an afro. I should have known then that something was in the water, y'all. But I didn't. I didn't know. See, and that's the thing. I think it's important. This brings me to something else. Y'all know I'll be all over the place. But this brings me to something else. We have to tell our children who they are. If you have multiracial children, you need to teach them their ancestry. You need to teach them who they are, where they come from. They need to know so they can love all of them, not one side of them, but all of them. And you're going to have to teach them at home because, baby, the school systems is not teaching anything about minorities. The only thing you getting is Ponce de Leon, Christopher Columbus.
You know what they talk about for Black History down there? They tell us about what was the other one? The three kingdoms and that. That's what we get. Oh, and then we start off with slaves in America. That's where we start off at. After we come for, we start there.
No. They ain't gonna tell you what happened to get you over here. Right.
They're not gonna tell.
And please, y'all, stop talking about your own people, soldier. Look, y'all, that did happen. There were some tribes that were captured, and they did sell them people. But who buys other humans? Oh, that's right, colonists.
The Pope said it was okay, so they were here.
The Pope.
Where he at?
In Rome, at the Vatican. But the truth is, hey, Auntie. But the truth is that I was picked on, you know what I'm saying, and called that name just because of my hair. Are you kidding me? I couldn't imagine if my skin was darker, which I always wanted. But, my skin was darker, what would they have to say? What would they do? And then when they started picking on me for my fangs, they started calling me Vamp Fro. They still didn't lose that part of it. So when I talk, that's why with Summer, I always taught her how beautiful her hair was. And I always took care of it and taught her how to take care of it because everything about her is beautiful and how it was created. And I had to make sure that she understood that. And I think that we have to learn and understand ourselves, especially as mothers, right? And as sisters and aunts. And we have to teach the children around us the truth of who they are. I found out that my father was Hispanic and white, but he's Hispanic. I found that out from Freddie, my mother's husband, right? Because when he would sexually assault me, or make me watch Mississippi Burning as punishment, he would tell me I was no good. Excuse me, because of who my father was. Y'all, that was so devastating to me because I didn't know my daddy wasn't all white. I didn't know that. Anybody know my daddy and see him, he's white passing, right? But I didn't know. You know, and to find that out and then to have to figure it out and be hated. And then I was going through that there and then being picked on at school, you know, because of my hair. Because I didn't look like everybody else. Or because I thought I ain't never been like everybody else. And I don't mind that. I love that. That's what makes me me. But in those times and in those moments, what do you tell your children, right? What do you say to Zane, to Jonah, to other minority kids? And for those of you that don't know, Zane is Dominican. He is just white passing. But how do we help them? Because the truth is that we want to help now, but that is where we make change. It's in the generation and the ones that are coming up now. So what do we do as a community to teach them self-love?
As a community, and this is including everybody in America, if you're a parent in America, because you can't just have, because that's a problem now. We have people in the black community who are telling their children the history, but those children are going to school and they're meeting racist little white kids whose parents are like, oh yeah, you need to stay away from the black people. They're no good, this, that, and the other. No, those parents are the ones that need to help with the change, because those kids are going to grow up. Now, some of the kids they grow up and they're like, my parents are racist. That's not okay. But some grow up, they're complicit, or they just roll with it.
Do you think it's that, or do you think they just don't want to upset their parents? Like maybe they don't want their parents to know that they're not racist. Right? Like maybe,
You know what I call that? A coward. Because I can understand for a child, I can understand being nervous about that. I can truly understand that. But at a certain point, when you debase another human being,
girl, stop using them big words. What you said?
look, when you can treat another human being worse than you treat a dog, you're no better than the people you say you are like.
Right, but is that a human thing or a racism thing? That mindset, that's what I'm talking about, that mindset. Is that just an F up human or is that racism?
That's difficult.
Right, but I think some of what we've seen from these cops is who they are. Not necessarily they're racist. It just happened to be
Right.
a brown or a black person at that time that got what was coming. Because you know they saying this cop and George Floyd knew each other. They worked together at a club. If y'all don't know that, look that up recently too. That wasn't no 20 years ago. So now, if they worked in the same club, I don't know what kind of club it was, but there were all kinds of people in there, right?
The thing is, I would say for most cops, I could give for current.
Now we all know an asshole cop. Let's be honest. Some cops just ass.
What is the history of what the police used to do towards the black community? Who used to take off their white hoods and then put on their police uniform and go out to work?
They still do.
Generations.
They still do.
Generations. So historically, I don't think the police force is something to. Now, of course, there are cops that are just assholes. I mean, I've seen female police officers that aren't white do some awful stuff. I've seen black cops. But what I don't see is it happening. It's too systematic to not be an issue.
Right. It has occurred too many times for somebody not to do something. And I do agree with that. The thing is that what we have to, like your Aunt Dania always say, we have to talk amongst ourselves, because we have to figure out a way to help our community. Staying away from the police and avoiding the police is not an answer. This whole don't do nothing wrong and the police won't come. That's a lie. That's a lie. You know, Ahmaud Arbery was running down the road and they got in their car and ran behind them. When I was younger, this is what Kyra said. When I was younger, I would always have to explain myself and my race, and many judged. It was so frustrating at that age, not knowing how to think about it or what to do about it. Right. And Kyra is, for those of y'all that don't know, Kyra is Julian's daughter and my bonus baby, one of them. So she's my daughter too, my mama April. So she is half Dominican, part white, and part Native American. Did I get that right, Kyra? And for those of y'all that don't know, the Dominicans Julian's grandfather was African. So the Africans mix with the Taino Indians, and that's where the Dominicans come from. Short and brief, that ain't exact, but short and brief. So, yeah. But the thing, I don't know. Okay, so we covered awareness, which, like you said, most of our community is on top of that, right? Awareness. We talk about it, we teach each other, but I still feel there is a tremendous shortage in us knowing our history versus how well they know their history.
Yeah.
Hey, Carmen. Shay said, I got slapped in the face when I was in Maryland at a park because I wasn't fully white or fully black. Hello, somebody. Shay. Look, exactly. And the thing is that there are some people that you either A or B. And if you're in the middle, we don't matter either. You know what I'm saying? So, yes. And I am so sorry that happened to you, Shay. Shay is our other daughter. She's the oldest of the crew. And but Oreo.
I ain't heard that one in a while.
Me either. Wait a minute. What that lady called us at that restaurant that time? When she asked me if I was mulatto.
I was like, what are we, back in the 1800s?
Where were we? I don't even remember where we were eating, but she was asking me, she was talking about mulatto. Y'all, I looked at her.
Now, she was trying to be kind. She misspoke.
I told her that's the most racist term she could say. Don't call nobody else that. Wow. But see, Kyra and Shay, y'all are kind of like me, Zane. Like, y'all are kind of white passing. You know, that's what they call it. White passing. I learned that term last week, y'all. But like Larice, Summer, they can't get away with it. But then they get mad at them because they think they should behave a certain way.
Do whatever I want.
But do you ever feel pressure? Like you should say this or respond this way or that way to certain things? Larice, do you ever feel like pressured, like in by other people that you have to pick a side or you have to choose or you have to, are you gonna be on the Filipino side or the black side?
Right now my head's going. I choose no side.
That's right. Summer, do you ever feel, I know because you're on at a historically black university, and do you ever feel like, Carmen, you better tell them, honey. Ooh, Lord, they'll make us some stuff. Ooh, they'll come up with some names. And that was before zebra cakes. But like, how do you feel, Summer? Do you ever feel like you kind of, I don't want to say pick a side, but do you feel like you're expected to have one view or another?
At times growing up, yes, I did get that kind of feeling. Yeah, I had to choose a side. But when it came down to it, I do have white friends now who I would trust. Like they're out here, they're out protesting and doing stuff. But growing up, a few of the white peers that I had around, even though I spoke to them, I knew that I'd be better off trusting somebody black like me. But then again, it's hard because I was mixed. Some black people would be like, "Oh, are you with us or are you with the whites?" Like they'd be like, they'd be trying to figure out, was I cool or not, which is understandable.
Till they met your mama, then they knew you was down.
Right. But then again, as a black female, I think an expectation in itself is set for us. We're not allowed to be. You got to be careful when we come off aggressive or loud, or aggressive or loud. When we're just speaking naturally, or emotional, or we're always angry. You'd be angry too if somebody was always looking at your skin color and being like, "Oh, you're black." I mean, I remember one dude was like, "Oh, you're black, then such and such must be big on you."
What's such and such?
I don't want to talk about it.
Y'all, she ain't tell me this here yet.
Either way,
Hey, Auntie.
I put him in his place. Moved on.
Oh, I know you did because I taught you what to do with
But things like that happen. That's not okay. So, yeah, I mean, I love who I am. I love that I am black, I am white, I am Hispanic.
Then I did my job because that's what I wanted. The thing is, what you don't understand is if your children hate, if you teach your children to hate, the first thing they're going to learn to hate is parts of their self. You don't got to believe me, but it's the truth. If your children are taught to hate, they're going to hate their self first. Let me tell you something. I want everybody that can hear me to think about this. Think about every racist you know. And I don't care. Look here. I don't care if they're black, white, Hispanic. I don't care. I said any racist you know. Every racist you know does not like themselves. They may put on a good show, but they live lives. They do things. They say things that let you know that they are not happy. They do not like themselves. That's why it's so easy for them to hate and dislike others with no legitimate reason. Period. You know what I mean, it's just what it is. You know, and this whole, I'll tell you something else people say get on my nerves. This whole, that's their generation. That's when they was born. Let me tell you something. I don't care if you was born during slavery. I don't care. White people ain't got a reason to hate nobody. And black, no. Why do the white people hate anybody? They the ones that came over here and tore up everything.
Someone scared.
Well, not, you know, them colonists. But they the ones that came over here, tore up everything and took everything from the Native Americans. Then they brought black folks over here, Africans, I mean, over here, and then brought them over here and mistreat them too.
I mean,
For over 400 years.
I have a question for you.
What?
You got a dog, right? And you beat that dog every single day.
Hey, First Lady.
You brutalize that dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many of y'all gonna sleep with that dog in your bed? And you brutalizing that thing, and you hope it don't bite your neck off.
Sure, I ain't gonna mistreat no dog.
America was founded on slavery. They laid the foundation for it.
Right.
Whites laid that kind of foundation for the country. And I'm not going to say it's their country because it's our country too. I'm an American citizen.
You are, I promise.
So they laid this foundation for everybody who's an American citizen. So you lay your bed, you made your bed, so you sleep in it.
Well, that's true.
And they made their bed not that well. So
It's
some
pretty
are
lumpy.
nervous. Some are nervous about it. I mean, when people do cruel things to other people, when they realize that can come back to them, they get scared.
Mm-hmm.
Most get scared. Sometimes you got a crazy individual running around, they don't give a damn.
There is some genuine mental illness.
What?
Let's be honest. There are some legitimate mental illnesses sometimes in some of these incidences. But child, not every time.
And why is the mental illness kind of always be interracial? What's that called?
Well, you know, like we've talked about, Summer, psychology comes from a white perspective. Like this, unless you study black psych, black history, black
And we're not talking about the experiments that they did that were cool. We're talking about true
like
understanding.
Right. Like even with our children, the testing, like you and I have talked about, the aptitude testing that they give is geared for the Caucasian children to do better.
And it's geared to that kind of culture. That's why there are Caucasian children that do awful on standardized testing because they're not in that culture that they test. They hang around us.
Right. They a lot of times, right.
So that in itself is a problem.
So what do
Psychology
we do?
can only be, psychology at its best is only for a certain type of culture. You have to tailor it to a culture. Because I'm going to ask Reese, aren't there things in Filipino culture that are very different that you know, from growing up
From American stuff.
from American stuff? And to you, that's normal and you grew up with it. So to you, that's your lifestyle. That's how you understand and process things. So it wouldn't be fair for somebody to say your culture is wrong when it's not.
Right.
There's nothing wrong about it. It's your lifestyle that you're living. So it's a culture thing too.
Right, but let's get back to the psychology part of it. Explain that to the people like you and me talked about
Like,
with how it affects the children and the study and the disease labels and the meds they use, like bipolar, schizophrenia, all of that stuff. Why it's so easy to find a white man mentally
because the symptoms and studies were done on them. That's who the psychologists were doing the test on. You study a certain group of people, yeah, you're going to find symptoms that match it perfectly. But when you try to put that on other people, it's not going to match because that's not them.
Right.
That's why there needs to be studies done all across the board, psychologically.
Because back when a lot of this stuff was being done, black people couldn't read. Hell,
They were still saying that, we were really closely related to monkeys, so our IQ was lower. We were athletic. They were making up a lot of stuff. Eugenics.
right. There you go. Then see, that's the word I couldn't think of. I've been sitting here trying to think of that word for 3 minutes. Yes. Now go look that up, y'all. Spell it for them.
Eugenics? You want me to spell it? There we
You
go.
on with X?
X. X?
No, it ain't no X in it.
CS.
It's a CS. Y'all heard her. She in college. I've been out of school a long time. I don't know nothing no more. And whatever this stuff is that these children was doing at home when school was out, I don't know it either.
I mean, I remember reading
Larice could spell.
the first few black psychologists, the person that taught them just did it to say, oh yeah, I can train a black person.
Train them?
Yes, train them to be.
Girl, shut up like we a damn dolphin.
That's what they thought back then, back in the 1920s. That's what they thought. That was their mindset. Then I remember reading the statement. That man was so happy he trained a black man to be a psychologist.
For those of you that don't know, Summer has a minor in black psych from FAM. That's what her minor is. But that's already completed. But it may not be, but it's a minor in black psych. It's not in just anything or any psychology. It's in black psychology. Not that there's a black psychology, but because of the classes that were offered at FAMU, your psychology minor is pretty much
Based on black community.
right. Y'all know I don't know what I'm talking about. We just paid for her to go to school. I don't really know what's going on there. She doing what she's supposed to. That's all I know. But like for instance with Miss Laura. Laura is Larice's mom. But when she first came here from the Philippines, she wasn't well treated by the black community. She was mistreated, right? She had some horror stories about how some of the black community treated her as an Asian when she immigrated to America. They were mean. And to this day, she very leery, very uneasy. She doesn't know what to think. You can't convince her that it's different now because of her experience. And that's what I think people have to realize too, is that we have stories in our communities that we tell, that we hear, that we pass down of how families have been treated. You know what I'm saying? Or how they were treated because of the color of their skin. It's not always hearsay, but because we've heard that, we know that, we've been through that, it's in our mind. It's kind of like it's a natural response.
And it is.
Like, y'all know me. Everybody knows me. I understand that because I've been that way with Caucasians, with white people, all your life, all my life. As long as I can remember what Freddie, since that happened to me at 14 years old. 13
When
years
people
old.
go through stuff like that, I can understand why you would want to be bothered.
So, but the thing is even in that, I don't have the right to go out there and think all white men are life ready.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But that's the difference. There are people that don't do that. They just mind their business. They stay away from it. But then there are people who feel that way and they go out and terrorize other people, anybody who they hate.
Oh, I tell you, it is I don't know. It's just sad, really. It's really sad, because there's so much people miss out on by being so narrow-minded. You miss out on so much culture and so much knowledge and good food, but there's so much we can learn from one another.
Right.
But they don't want to learn, they want to just be right. And that's part of the problem. They think they're right.
They think it's their way.
They think it's okay. They think it's their right to be hateful. They honestly think it's their right to not like somebody because of the color of their skin.
And they say, oh, that's because the Constitution says such and such. Look here, I'm not going.
What the Constitution say? We the people.
They love to use that branding right here. They brand it my freedom of speech.
Yeah, child. If that ain't the biggest line of bullshit.
A group of people got together and wrote down some words on some paper, and you telling me that gives you the right to be hateful? No. The freedom of speech, the purpose of that, they're misusing it.
Right. Just like they do with the gun right.
But you know what? At this point, let them believe in their freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they say something, there's a consequence.
Well,
sorry. You know how I feel about these riots.
Well, I want to ask y'all about something else. What y'all think about these Christian bigots? These people that believe that your skin color is a curse, that you got marked by God.
Then they need to go back and look at history and see that everybody started out as black. So, here. You can tell a story, whatever makes you feel better, flatter people. Whatever want to make them feel better about themselves, because they hate themselves. Like you said, they really hate themselves. So, look back at history. They didn't want to survive long in the sun if they were as light as they say.
Right.
So, I don't think they're Christians. Being a bigot and a Christian can't be two things like that.
So what you telling me is if you're a bigot, you going to hell. You cannot be a Christian if you're a bigot.
Oh, I know some people go to hell or not.
But can you name the name of Christ, right, as your Lord and Savior, if you are a bigot? And by bigot, I mean hate anybody that don't look like you.
That's superior.
Right.
For me personally, I don't think you get anywhere with that kind of bullshit. But I think some people firmly believe that that's okay.
Right. But they've been taught that, right? Isn't that what we were just talking about? They've been taught in church, especially them evangelicals, and them Church of God, and not Church of God in Christ. I said Church of God. Them Pentecost churches.
I don't know them.
Oh no, I done looked them up. I done looked up the denomination, but they just say, they've been taught that in church, in theology school and stuff, that darker skin is a curse.
But anybody that looks back in the history books, and several of my classes on campus, they explained to us that they have found several notebooks and journals documenting advanced medical techniques that after they disappeared, we didn't see again until recently. Especially, I mean, they had. I remember there's a journal, a collection they have on women's health, dedicated to women's health. That the Egyptians had dedicated just to that for certain illnesses that we have going on right now.
Right.
And looking at it, they say, "Oh wow, they already knew all this, and we're just discovering it."
Right. But when you get to talking about Egypt and that area and that time period, you also get to talking about
Kemet. Right.
So you get to talking about that, and see that's history that not all African Americans know.
Right, and most of the stuff that they had back then, because what happened, Kemet was attacked. Several civilizations united together to destroy Kemet because of how powerful it was. I mean, they had 25 dynasties.
Y'all go and look up Kemet, spell it for
A
'em.
dynasty can last, isn't just
SIT, I believe.
right. A dynasty is a long time. A dynasty means a family ruled.
Right.
So it took several civilizations to destroy that, and when they came in and destroyed it, they took all they could and looted it. So the only information that could be passed on was word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then that eventually we got to the three kingdoms that I mentioned, then Africa, that eventually that followed.
Right.
And then we had slavery take place, so you were pulled from your people. Children were pulled, and then you were separated and put with other people that you didn't even speak a common language with. So how are you supposed to share the knowledge you have of the history of your people?
Right.
That was what happened. Civilizations all over, and you know what? I'm not. That happened in history. That's what it was like back then.
Right.
It was my tribe lives, your tribe needs to die because we have to feed our people. That's how it was back then.
Right.
But at a certain point, when we began to get into, I don't want to name the wrong era, but when we got to the
You know I can't get
1800s,
this.
all right, 1600s,
I ain't hiding all
let me
this.
go to the 1600s, because that's, when you get to that point, you've seen a change kind of take place. And then it became this systematic approach against a group of people due to their skin color. And it became an approach to break them down, break their culture, destroy their knowledge, because if they know where they came from, who they are, that's a threat.
Right. Yeah, knowledge is power. Because and the thing is, when you, I'm going to interrupt you, but when you look back at Kemet and that time, right? They were, family was the key. Like you said, there were 25 dynasties. Family
And
was
that's just
important. Right.
not even when Egypt rose up with the pharaohs.
Right. But they were, but they were. I forgot what I was saying.
Families.
Yeah, they were families. They were close. The black men were in their rightful place as the priests and kings of their homes. They were protecting their wives and protecting their children and teaching their children. And they were there and they were active in their lives and they were family units. What happened when we got when they were brought over here, the slaves, when they were brought over here from Africa in chains, in the bottom of boats, one of the first things they did was sell the men one way and the wives and children went another. If the wife didn't go one way and the children go another.
If the children were old enough to survive on their own, they were separated.
So they came here and the first thing they did after they got them here was destroy the unity.
Any type of foundation they had.
Destroy their unity, their family. And when they did that, that has generationally continued till today.
And you know, today we're seeing progress though. We can see families like that. There
Right.
are exemplary.
Exemplary.
There we go.
Mhm.
Black families.
Right. And look, let me tell y'all something how I view a black family. If there's a black priest at the head of that family, it's a black family. Because them children, if they got 1% African American in them, they blacker than black. You understand? 1% they African American. But the truth is that I believe that is how we restore us. It's family
That's a
and
problem.
unity. Why?
That's still against that's still against the idea that we got.
Oh, I know what's against the idea. What I'm telling you is what will work.
Yes.
I know. No. I was a single mother for 14 years with 2 black children by 2 different black men. Baby, I know the plan. But what I'm saying is that we have to change our minds so that we don't think that is okay anymore. Because we've gotten to where it's okay for a young black queen to be out there having as much dick as a young black king is having pussy, and that ain't okay. There has to be a standard and a respect for yourself, because once you have that, then you will be able to show that to others. Does that make sense? You know, I've always taught y'all that family is key.
Right. But then, and I'm gonna, because we had discussions in my psychology class, black psychology. Would have students.
Y'all, I know it's after 10. If y'all want to hang with us, go ahead.
I remember we had a student say, what's the point of it all if we're at risk of dying? Why should I? And you know, it made me think, for a lot of these changes, people have to die. And that's something realistic here. So for the black community, like you said, for black families to be strong and stuff, that in itself is a danger. Not only is our skin color a danger, but us coming together, unifying is considered a danger.
Ain't it coffee?
No, it's not. The plug's over there. Our computer right now, we about to go out.
We ain't going nowhere, y'all. Not yet.
So, the thing is, as itself is dangerous. And that fear sometimes keeps people back. But you can't tell somebody to go give your life up like that if they don't want to. That's not fair.
Right.
But it's coming to a point where people are starting to say, oh, well, I'm going to fight. That's what pretty much happened in the 60s.
Mm.
Then people were protesting and being hosed down. Attack dogs. I'm sure when they went out, they knew that they might not make it back to their home that day. They would not rest their head again. And for some of them, that was the case.
Right, for a lot of them. But it's almost like our soldiers, you know, our troops, our military troops. Yes, they signed up, but they didn't sign up. They knew war may possibly happen, but they didn't sign up with the intent of going to war. Not all of them. I know some of them I've talked to, that's what they signed up for because we was at war. But they didn't, but the thing is that America doesn't even take care of them after they break them. So America historically has a history of taking people, breaking them, and then leaving them broken.
Right.
White America has a history of that. They want us to fight their battles Look how they did them Native Americans. They act like that's all friendly and stuff. The Native Americans told us some stuff, and then bam, they done to shine and took all of them out. The thing is, we populated too fast. They couldn't keep up with us, with minorities. They couldn't. Because if they could have eradicated us like they did the majority of Native Americans, I believe they would. But they can't. But the thing is we can't act like them. They've proven that.
Right.
Not only that, it's not in us to act like them. In our history, our culture, as minorities, if you go back and you look over in those other countries overseas, Kemet and things, they did not fight amongst each other.
I mean, Kemet housed some of the greatest Greek philosophers. They went and studied underneath some of the Kemet priests and philosophers. They shared their knowledge. That is one thing that is different in that we went over for Western. That's what they say, Western culture versus other cultures. Western culture is very individualistic, aggressive, non-acceptive of other cultures.
Right.
Versus you look at other cultures, they accept, naturally it's expected to accept other cultures.
But the truth is we came into this land and adopted their ways when it was pushed on us instead of maintaining our own ways. But it was over 400 years of slavery. How was they going to keep that going? But what I'm saying is that's why we have to learn and we have to go back. Look, and I don't care who all on my page. You know enough white history. Go learn something new about something else. Somebody else.
Come with some slavery history. You know what? You keep that to yourself. I already know it. Bring me something new. Don't come to tell like, oh, slave such and such.
The other thing, y'all, where COVID went? Anybody know where the coronavirus gone? If they find out where the coronavirus went, tell them to kill it. Because I'm tired of being in the house. Sorry, y'all, I had to say that because I'm trying to tell you, if these numbers don't go up through the roof, after all this going on, they've been lying about corona.
But can you imagine the coronavirus is a thing right now? But people are out there protesting, and that lets you know that they are willing to risk catching this and being hospitalized. That lets you know there is a giant issue going on. That lets me know that when governors are saying, oh, we're going to use force to get these people to leave or do this or disperse, or you got police officers attacking peaceful protesters. You got police officers that have sprayed, sorry, not police officers. There was a police officer that sprayed a child in the face.
Don't forget that congresswoman they sprayed in the face.
And they sprayed a congresswoman, sprayed her right in the face.
A black congresswoman.
They don't care. They don't care. They just don't care.
But unity.
They think they can get away with it.
Unity, I believe, is the key. I could be wrong, but I really believe that is the key.
What's it going to take to get that unity? It's going to take...
I'll be dead.
They're going to keep pressing and pressing. And they're going to... These riots that we see right now is going to look like a sandcastle, a little tiny sandcastle. They're going to keep playing, and it's going to look like something people ain't ever seen before. And I'm not talking about this, and I don't think it's going to be... Yeah, I think it can. It will eventually, if this type of force keeps happening. Because not only are blacks fighting, we had all sorts of communities fighting
right
for this that are participating. So you're gonna get all these groups together and they're not with the bullshit anymore.
Right. Even the Amish is out there. Child, y'all know they say them Amish been standing up for black rights since the civil rights. Ain't that something? I ain't know that about the Amish. Did y'all know that the Amish been? Did y'all know that?
The thing is, unity is
Oh
not
shoot, they can't see my name.
Unity
I
is
don't know
not,
if
I
they
don't
just
think
sit up.
unity will happen peacefully. There's not gonna be some law they sign in and boom, everything's great. Because when has that worked before? They freed the slaves. What happened?
Child.
They ended segregation. What happened? You can't just make somebody's mindset change instantly like that. That's not possible. So for that unity that you want to happen, there's going to be.
It's not, I don't want it. I just think that's the key to us overcoming where we are right now.
Right, but some people, they say that. Some people say, I want unity, and their idea of that unity, they really believe it's going to be a peaceful unity.
Oh no, I believe in war. You know I'm a fighter.
I've seen so many posts on Facebook now about people apologizing or saying, oh, maybe we should have listened when Colin Kaepernick kneeled. Oh, yeah, maybe you should have. But
Instead of firing him.
Oh, it's too late now.
You done fired the man, made him have to get out the NFL, all that money he done missed all these years. All because y'all was ignorant.
Who's upset over peace?
Ignorant,
Look, we done showed them now that
stupid. I don't even know that was ignorant. Stupidity is more like it. But all because he took a knee. You know.
But they really sit down and they target things.
Sure, I don't even like Target, so I ain't even messing up with that there. But y'all do see these white agitators are being arrested for a lot of these arsons and breaking of windows and things. Like the Nashville historic courthouse that was on fire. They arrested a guy in Nashville, a white guy, this morning for that arson. Do you know what I'm saying? So they think it,
and they love to say,
it's
oh,
them.
it's black people. Oh, it's black people causing it, and then comes found out it's white people that initiated. But there's a lot of groups that are hanging around right now, like a lot of anti-government government groups. Antifa, they're sneaking out and they're participating in this because they just want to cause violence and chaos. They don't even care what's going on.
No. They just want to cause unrest, confusion.
Anarchists. Some people are anarchists. That's what they like. That's what they want. And this is their chance. And they're taking it and they're letting, well, as usual, we take the phone for everybody else's stuff. We get put last.
Well, y'all, we gonna get off here. No, and Larice, you want to say bye to the people? What you got? You close us out.
You should press the red button.
Oh shit, that's right. But well, we gonna go, and all I want to say is that I think it's important we keep the conversation going, keep it open, amongst ourselves. But we have to be able to talk, not argue, not scream, but communicate. You know what I'm saying? Effectively. That means you talk and listen. And but we have to, because there's every one of us knows something. So if we all talk to each other, we can all learn it together. You know, and you know that's how we do around here, child. But y'all take care. Have a good night. Look, like and follow me on the page. Please go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It is Real Life Talk with April as well. Also, find me on Instagram. All right, y'all have a good night. Bye.